If you have watched this video, then you might be familiar with the long-awaited decision FIA took. If not, I suggest you watch that one before this. Long story short, they plan to abandon the hybrid system in Rally 1 cars starting 2025, and it was official. But FIA ate their own words and now they have decided to wait until 2026, which means the hybrid witchcraft is here to stay. Although it has been a month since they finalized their decision, and I know I'm a bit late to be making a video on this one, and I concluded that I have a lot to say. When FIA took the decision to abandon the hybrid system in Rally 1 cars in Feb this year, a lot of people showed support. With the hybrid motor being discarded, Rally 1 cars would have been limited to 330 brake horsepower with a budget set to €400,000. The budget cut had an opportunity for other manufacturers to enter WRC events and close the gap between Rally 1 and Rally 2 cars. With cost effectiveness left in the cold, FIA is back to square one. However, that decision sparked a heated debate until they decided to abandon the abandonment of hybrid motors. There were speculations that FIA would take a U-turn. Changes to Rally 1 cars were heavily opposed by teams and manufacturers, followed by them requesting current rules to stay put. The primary concerns of the teams revolved around redesigning, testing, and validating the cars for the next season. Manufacturers were too far ahead to be making any immediate changes. A lot of money had already been spent in the development of current cars, which are expected to compete across a 5-year homologation cycle, which made them go against FIA's decision even more. All three manufacturers were unhappy with the decision, as it would require more funds to be poured on R&D, and it would be impossible to come with a new car in such a short period of time. But that was just one side of the coin. And we also need to consider what the drivers have to say about it. Initially, when hybrid cars were introduced, the drivers had mixed opinions. Some expected that their previous experience would help them to adapt to Rally 1 cars, while some showed skepticism regarding the future of Rally 1 cars and what should be expected out of them. Rovanperä, being experienced in Rally 2 cars, expected to adapt to Rally 1 cars and showed excitement on the same. Tanak believed that it was too early to make conclusions. It has been 2 years since Rally 1 was introduced, and I cannot validate what they think about Rally 1 now. While some drivers like Newell complained about the driving mechanism of the hybrid cars being too complicated, inconsistent, and unpredictable. Rosada's statement tells you a lot about the state of Rally 1 cars. He says that the car is more clumsy as it takes longer to change support when cornering, which surprisingly makes it more stable, less reactive than current cars. That explains that rallying is not what it used to be, or at least that's what people think. Ask anyone about the good old days of Group B. And no, I'm not saying that Group B was superior in terms of cars or engines or drivers. I mean, they were, in a way, but also it would be wrong to compare Rally 1 to Group B. The sheer thrill of being a spectator and the popularity of the sport speaks a lot. I think FIA may have drawn inspiration from Formula 1, as it is the most hardcore and technologically advanced division in Formula racing. But the results did not turn out to be as expected. The popularity is at a decline, and I have some theories about it. Number one being the lack of proper promotion on social media platforms. If you have seen F1 and the way it is being promoted and broadcasted, you would know what I'm talking about. There isn't anything wrong with the sport. If anything, it is in a better place than before. But the issue lies within its broadcasting. In F1, you could be done within a few hours, but in Rally, it can be a full-day event. Pair that with the expensive subscription to watch the whole thing, and you get where we are. Number two being the absence of privateers. It is a darn shame that only 3 manufacturers are participating in the most elite Rally class, and the manufacturing cost is to blame. Well, partly. You would think that a Rally 1 car is expensive to make, and I agree, it is. But take a look at what Red Bull has to say regarding the manufacturing cost of an F1 car. This difference right here is night and day. In F1, the return on investment is high, which is why the teams are able to travel all over the world with their expensive cars multiple times a year. The profit or return on investment is what restricts other teams to enter Rally 1. Like, who would not like to see Skoda and Citroën take part in this division? I know I would. Number 3 being cars getting too complicated. In the early days of rally, when it started to gain a bit of a fame as a motorsport, it was a sport with just a weight-reduced road-going car with swapped tires, which was supposed to sprint along a designated route. Rally was all about charging the modified car from point A to point B and achieving the best possible time. Now, I'm not saying rules and regulations are disagreeable by any means. It is just that in the wake of making motorsport fun, FIA is limiting motorsport to just a few classes. I'm not criticizing their decisions, and by all means, I appreciate that they are concerned about the future of motorsport. If you remember, rallying used to be a sport where teams were free to experiment with their cars. The drivers were so engrossed in getting the least possible time that the last thing they cared about was their survival. That is not the case now, and for good measures. But the weird conjunction of power and safety is baffling to me. No offense, but you can either have power or you can be safe. Mixing it simply takes the fun out of it. I know these cars are very fast and are equipped with extra power and more downforce, but it feels like putting Godzilla on a leash. Does it mean people love watching drivers risking their lives? No, not at all. They're excited by someone else racing the car when they can't. The introduction of Group B cars ruled out the word safety. It was going sort of good until Henry Toivonen's accident. That put an end to Group B era and rallying became much safer following then. Don't get me wrong, rally is still not safe, just like any motorsport. Adding a solid roll cage won't prevent the inevitable. If you recall, Craig Breen passed away in his I-20 while testing, which tells that the risk is gonna be there no matter what. I understand FIA's effort to make the car safer through assists, but you need to understand that the spirit of rally is fading. With that said, I simply do not understand the point of adding aero in Rally 1 cars. Rally is all about cars being unstable and unpredictable, and it is up to the driver to tame the beast while managing to listen to their respective co-drivers and being able to react within a few milliseconds.
Extra long, keep in the crest, 150. Line into early short, 6 right minus to the crest, opens to flat left to the crest, 100.
That is the uncertainty people have fun with. The sport used to be so simple that it was enough to get your adrenaline pumping. It had unwavering attention from the spectators, and I do not have to tell you how exciting it was back in the 80s. No other motorsport actually lets the spectators witness cars jolting through tracks this close. In my opinion, rallying is a dangerous, unpredictable, and life-threatening sport, not just for the drivers, but also for the spectators. And sometimes dogs. But I'm not here to talk about how to save rally. I'm here to say that we should be saving it. It is an awesome motorsport, and I for one love it more than I should. If you take my word for it, and by no means I'm an engineer or even remotely eligible to say this, in my honest opinion, hybrid took the fun out of Rally 1. I'm sure they are very fast and all of the engineering behind it is commendable, but it is missing the raw factor. It feels like FIA's desperate measures to reignite the lost interest in rallying amongst people. I don't know what the right way would be, but implementing hybrid and making the car downforce heavy did not work out too well. And according to people, strict regulations made the class overly complex and a bit unfun to watch. Yes, safety is a concerning factor for the board, and they have to adhere to it. But my question is, how FIA is planning to save the future of rallying? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like it if you loved it, sub for more, keep your revs up, and I shall see you next time.